And you're now tuned in to the I Don't Know Hoop Podcast. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Been chilling, y'all. Been chilling. I'm glad y'all still tuned in, watching the content for real. This is episode 2 of season 2. Go on ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff for me. We're gonna get kind of straight into it today. For today's content, we're gonna be reacting to ESPN's top 150 list. They dropped their list a couple days ago, and they've been dropping the rankings accordingly. They just dropped 10-1 today. We're gonna react to their top 50. I'm not gonna do all the extras with it. Let me pull up the list real quick. At number 50, they got Jarrett Allen. At number 50, they got Jarrett Allen. I don't know how I feel about this ranking based on what he did in the postseason, but again, this is more so about 82 games, and Jarrett Allen's still a pretty good player, pretty good rim protector. Didn't show that in the playoffs, however, though. Did not show any of that rim protection in the playoffs. Struggled to rebound in the playoffs, but overall, uber athletic big, one of the best role men in the league. Got Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland a lot of easy assists just based on his roll gravity alone. With the dynamic ability of those two to shoot off a live dribble, Jarrett Allen's role presence was needed, and there's definitely upside to Jarrett Allen as a player. So I'm not gonna act like 50 is a crazy ranking, especially because I put him in there last year. I put him in my list last year. Wembayamba at 47, which is pretty high already considering the fact that Victor's a rookie who hasn't played yet. As far as the top 50 goes, I'm not someone who's like a gatekeeper of where people should go, but it is kind of crazy that like he hasn't played yet, and he's better than some of the players that are on the list. I just think he needs to play. I think we need to see the talent happen in real time. And that's something I always believe, though. I always believe ESPN does a little bit too much overboard when it comes to ranking their players. I be thinking sometimes that when it comes to these younger guys, they gotta prove it more when they're rookies. Give them a season at least to then project where they're gonna be at in top 50 lists as far as top 50 goes. But Victor Wembanyama is really talented, and he has such high upside that I can't really be mad at them believing that he's top 50. They put Chris Middleton at 46. I'm not too fond of the pick either due to his age and the injuries that he faced, but his talent screams top 50 in the association. So if he can get back to it, this is a pretty decent pick for a top 50 ranking. At number 45, they got Julius Randle, which is roughly fair. I'm hard on Julius Randle, but that's roughly a fair ranking for real. I'm not going to be somebody to, again, like I said, gatekeep a top 50. But I do think there are deficiencies in Randall's game that could get better and that could use some grooming over time to be able to be an efficient and effective postseason player. I just think some of these guys that do good in the regular season, they cap in the playoffs for reasons, and a lot of it's just due to probably like an inefficient approach to the game, or like just off demeanor, or like things of that nature, just little intangibles that stop them from really reaching the pinnacle of the player they could become. Like Randall's a pretty good scorer. He's a pretty good scorer, especially for his size, and his ability to score at all three levels is decent. But he doesn't attack the basket enough for me, for example, settles for a lot of jumpers. And being as though that the jumpers that he settles for are tough jumpers at that, they're not a lot of catch and shoot looks. Because he's a pretty decent catch and shoot player. I don't have his catch and shoot numbers in front of me, but he's a pretty decent catch and shoot player. And he can do things with the pill in his hands, especially when it comes to playmaking. But just the overall approach and a lot of the side step threes and the step back middies and the face up jumpers from 18 feet, a lot of that is in Julius Randle's game. And I just don't think Julius Randle could be that efficient approaching the game like that. It just doesn't look that nice to me when he does it. It really doesn't. It looks stiff sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I wish I could explain it, but it would sound like I'm hating. And I don't know basketball. I don't know who. That's the main goal to accomplish here. I don't know who. I don't want Kenyon Martin yelling about any top lists that I would create in the future, because this is really just for fun, and I think that's just the main premise of the top 50 list. They're supposed to be fun. But no complaints really from me from ESPN until we get to number 35, and this one's probably like the biggest controversial ranking that is probably on ESPN, according to the common consensus. Ja Morant being number 35 due to off-court allegations, and honestly speaking, since the fact that he's not going to play 30 games, and this is a projection rankings, someone who's always picking up knick-knack injuries and who's going to miss 20 games off rip, it's not very ideal to pick him to be your top 10 player. Though he has top 10, 15 talent, I can see why we're already going to probably neglect him more towards the 30s if we're basing it off of projections for this season, based on the fact that he's not going to play 25 games, something like that. I forgot what this suspension is, but it's a good chunk of the season. And he already picks up knick-knack injuries, and just his approach to the game makes him an injury-prone athlete. So hopefully the health can come with this time off and rest, so that Ja Morant can shut the critics up, and he can go back to playing basketball at a really high level, because he's very talented, and he's not the 35th best player. He's just not. He's just not. He's not the 35th best player by any means. Ja Morant is very good at basketball. Ja Morant is a sensational athlete. We've never really seen a guard this explosive, yet this crafty. What I mean by that is, you don't see guards that can jump out the gym with floater packages, rarely. That's like some Derrick Rose stuff. They don't really have the coordination to do both. And Ja Morant has the coordination to be able to get one-legged floats off, get off dribble, offhand lays off, get all these sensational touch baskets, all while being able to put you in the rim. He's just a sensational player. I don't. 35th is crazy. No matter if he was selling drugs or if he was pointing beams at little kids. Ja, you gotta calm down. Pointing beams at little kids is crazy. I seen on the Gilbert Arenas podcast that they're mad that Kyrie Irving was ranked number 34. Honestly, due to the impact that he has on teams and other aspects of the game, such as defense declining for him, and just the demeanor that he has on teams, I could see why he's ranked 34. But again, he's not the 34th talent in the NBA, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. I don't really know basketball. These guys probably know more than me. It's their job to know more than me. But a really skilled scorer, 27, 5 and 5, being 34th on a top 50 list, kind of just shows how talented this league is in general, because a lot of the players that are ranked over him, you can definitely make a case. Impact winning culture and impact winning basketball games in several different ways more than Kyrie can. Because Kyrie's not scoring. I don't know. Are you going to win a basketball game without Kyrie getting 25? I don't know. But Kyrie Irving's more than capable of getting 25, like, every night. That's what makes him Kyrie at the end of the day. So, very truly an unguardable guard. I'll talk more about Kyrie's skill set later, who he is as a basketball player, and where I see him in the NBA. But sensational talent for real. I really think that he's an exceptional basketball player. Nonetheless, dang, Kawhi is at 24. See, a lot of these have to just be due to the fact that they're not going to see the court, and availability just has to be like a key factor. Because again, Kawhi, the 24th best player, talent-wise, just makes no sense. He was literally a playoff run away from beating KD again in the playoffs yet again. Not to say that he's beaten KD in the playoffs by NG. I don't think he has actually. Or if he did once. So it's not like he's done it, but he could have did it in 2017? He could have did it 2017, and he could have did it 2019, and then he could have did it again last year. So if KD is that high on rankings, and KD does miss time with these knick-knack injuries as well in the latter half of his career, but I get it. Kawhi is just way too good at basketball to be 24. I don't care what kind of injury he has. Just way too good of a basketball player. Way too good. Like De'Aaron Fox, for example, is next on this list. And you guys know how I feel about Domantas Sabonis in his game, so I'm not going to really do too much of the extras. Though, I'm going to just say Domantas Sabonis is not the 22nd best player in the NBA. I'm hating. I don't know basketball. I don't understand it. I watch for fun. When I watch, all I have is a popcorn and my happy face on, and I'm watching like a little kid. But I promise you, I do not think Sabonis is the 22nd best player in the NBA. There's just so successful season though. I get it. I see what ESPN is doing here. I get it. Yeah, Sabonis deserves his crowning for being a versatile big in today's NBA. And he was an All-NBA player. They say he's one of the premier bigs in the league. They didn't say anything about his playoff performance and how Kevon Looney dogged him. Kevon Looney's going to be nowhere near this top 50 list, which is fine, but then for Sabonis to be the 22nd best player, getting stopped by somebody who wasn't top 50. I'm finna hit the blunt to that. I gotta think about that type of logic. I gotta hit the blunt to that. They got Karl Anthony Towns at 20. It's too high. Where's Bam? That's what I'm trying to find. Where's Bam Adebayo? Okay, he's number 16. Alright. Cool. They got Bam at 16. I like it. I'm not really. I like the rankings. I don't really hate these rankings so far. Ooh. This one is real interesting. Okay, so LeBron's 9, right? LeBron's at 9. AD's at 10. So they're neck and neck according to ESPN. And ahead of both of them is SGA. Shai Gilgeous is ahead of both LeBron James and Anthony Davis right now at number 8. Hey, I like it. I'm here for it. Hey, Shai top 10 is a little bit of a woo, but he had a crazy season though. Like we can't act like the kid didn't get 30 a night. He was getting 30 a night, and he was shooting mad efficient. And he got his team a chance to make the play-in. Truly a tough guard, crazy 3-level scorer. You guys already know how I feel about SGA, if you guys know. But with what SGA is capable of on the court, I'm really not mad at them going on to say that he's a top 10 basketball player. 6'6", impacts the game on both ends. Can distribute the basketball, can score at all 3 levels at a high efficient level. It's just a lot of reasons to like SGA in his game, and I personally like the ranking. I like the ranking at the top 10. I know that's a little bit controversial, but I like where he's placed. I like where SGA was placed. KD's number 7, Jason Tatum's 6, Steph Curry's 5th. Okay. Luka's 4th. Then they got Embiid. Then they got Jokic. And then at number 1, they got Giannis. So Giannis is still the best player in the NBA according to ESPN. I guess it was by a slim margin according to NBARank history. Hey, I mean, I'm here for it. I like ESPN's energy. I believe that Sabonis is gonna be forever the pick that I'm gonna say is the craziest one. I just don't see what y'all see in DeMontis though, so like maybe it's a me thing. But I'm gonna finish off my top 50 list. We got the next chunk of players, so we're gonna be ranking 39 to 26. We're just gonna go breeze right through this, and then we're gonna officially end the podcast there. Preseason's on, but there's not too much to talk about since, for one, I haven't really tuned into preseason. I gotta be honest with you. Aside from Lakers basketball, so it'll only be Lakers talk, which I'll save for the end of the preseason, which is the next podcast. So let's go on ahead and finish the top 50 list. I appreciate everybody again for rocking with their kid. Subscribe and do all that good stuff. At 39, I got Paolo Banchero. Banchero averaged 27 and 3 on 43, 30, 74 splits. He's truly an explosive athlete, and he has crazy scoring upside. I love his face-up game. I love how he attacks the basket, gets to the foul line. He puts downhill pressure on a lot of players who really just don't have the size or the speed and athleticism to match up with him at his height at 6'10". 6'10", 250 already for a young player. He's got crazy upside, and he can handle the basketball and is an exceptional playmaker for his age, which actually is a plus for him going forward, because if he's able to create plays for others, that paint is going to be wide, and he's going to be able to do some LeBron-esque things. Not to the extent of LeBron, maybe, because LeBron is LeBron, but it can be pretty identical in how a drive and kick addition to Banchero's game being consistent can then lead to some crazy posters in the future going forward. I think he needs to increase his efficiency though. He's a 35% jump shooter, and he shot 50% on layups, and his splits are not that nice, and his defensive awareness could increase as well. But I think the upside that Paolo displays on the basketball court, especially for his age, is already tremendous, and I think the league got themselves a nice young talent with this kid right here. Him and Franz should have an exceptional season together, and hopefully I get to watch them this season, for real. Moving on to the next player on the rankings, at 38 I got Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham averaged 26 and 6 on 41 and a half, 28, 84 splits. Didn't play a lot, but still showcased the upside that made him the number one overall pick the previous few drafts. An explosive athlete, again, with scoring upside as well. He's really shifty and crafty with the pill in his hand and can do things with the live dribble. He's a tremendous playmaker too. I like the way Cade Cunningham sets people up. He's really a savant off the pick and roll. Just a lot of good things that Cade Cunningham does that is beneficial to a basketball team, and is a plus help defender as well. So that can go country miles for him. The efficiency again with him as well has to step up. 49% true shooting percentage and 39% on overall jump shots. 48% from layups with 60 layup attempts is not very ideal. One, you want to get more layup attempts being that you're 6'7" and you're a guard, but also you want to be more efficient on these attempts as well. You kind of don't want to be not making and missing a layup. You kind of want to have your numbers a little bit higher in the efficiency rankings. So that would just be the one thing from me. He also didn't have a positive defensive box per plus minus, so it makes it interesting to see what improvements Cade Cunningham could do on that end if he does want to become an elite two-way player in this league, which I think he has the upside for. At 37, I got Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine averaged 24, 4, and 4 on 48 and a half, 37 and a half, 85 splits with a 61 true shooting percentage. He's an explosive athlete with great jump shot form. He's probably a top 10 3-point shooter in this league. Like, no cap. He can get it off with the live dribble. Tough fall away, fades. Doesn't really matter because that jump shot base is so pure. He can get a shot off just about in any way and it'll be cash. 69% from 0 to 3 feet, 44% to 3 to 10 feet, 44% from 10 to 16 feet, 43% from 16 to 3 feet, 3-point range, and then 38% from 3, with improved playmaking as well. So just a tremendous offensive option, but defense could be desired. Like, he can get better at that for sure. But I like Zach LaVine's game. I like his approach, and it's going to be really interesting to see whether he can establish himself being the number one with DeMar DeRozan there finally. I think the conflict with last season led to a lot of trade talks. Maybe this is the season where we see Zach LaVine just say, forget this, and remind the Chicago Bulls why he was the franchise player that they picked and why they betted on him. Because they did trade a lot to get him in the beginning, in the first place. So, yeah, I like Zach LaVine's game, though. I really do. And I think that he can figure it out in due time, despite the fact that the Bulls are kind of like in the worst basketball situation you can be, especially without Lonzo. At 36, I got Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns averaged 28 and 5 on 49.5, 37, 87 splits. He had a 62% true shooting percentage and shot 80% at the rim. He's a really overall efficient scorer. No one gives Karl-Anthony Towns his credit for being an efficient basketball player when it comes to putting the ball in the rim, but he can really do it with the best of them. A lot of the numbers that he did see this season are due to Gobert's appearance, so his rebounding numbers aren't as high as what they would normally be, for example, and overall touches went down a little bit, but we saw his efficiency tread water, so it's good to see that he could still maintain with Gobert out there. But he picks up bad fouls still, and he's still terrible at defense. Still one of the worst defensive bigs in this league. So we know Karl-Anthony Towns got to improve on what he's got to improve on. He's got to approach the game with a better mentality. He can't get taken out of games still. It's year 8. It's aggravating at this point. It was cute when you're 24, playing with a lot of passion and getting taken out of games due to your expressiveness, but you're a lot older now, so these situations still shouldn't be the case, but they still are. At 35, I got James Harden. James Harden averaged 21, 11 assists with 6 rebounds on 44, 38.5, 87 splits. He's an elite playmaker with exceptional live dribble creation. Nobody can really distribute the basketball like Harden can with the live dribble, considering the fact that Harden has that sidestep that's patent in this game that is so deadly that you have to kind of play hard on him and force him hard one way, which allows for so many passing lanes, and he sees all of them. So I'll give credit where credit is due. He's also a 61% true shooting percentage, really efficient from the field, 61% from 0 to 3 feet, 42 from 3 to 10 feet, 44 10 to 16, 53% from 16 to 3-point range, and 38% from the 3-point line. His overall shot chart's a little different from the average shot chart, being that nearly half of his threes, 48% of them to be exact, were from the 3-point range. So, wait, I said that wrong. Nearly half of his shots, 48% of them were from 3. So, that is a lot considering the fact that there's so much other space on the court. Which, to be honest, is kind of a weakness that I see, the shot chart being so unbalanced. Being as though he could shoot efficiently from everywhere on the court, You'd want his shot chart to be a lot more balanced. You'd want him to approach the game and score at all three levels at an elite level like he's capable of. And we just don't get that no more from Harden these days. And he's always been a woeful playoff scorer with lackadaisical defense. So those are kind of my stitches with him. But I would like to see him engaged in a role playing basketball at a high level again. So hopefully he figures out his situation with Philadelphia, whether he plays or he ends up moving on and going where he wants to go. But yeah, sensational player still. I think the rap Harden gets is warranted, but a little overdone. It's warranted because we see him do what he do in the playoffs, but then yet again, he's able to come in the regular seasons and still be consistently good, consistently have 50-win teams, and he's 34. He's old now, so kind of just gotta look at it for what it is at face value. He's outperforming other players who, at his age, would have probably fell off by now that are all-time greats. So it should be taken into consideration that Harden is exceptional at basketball, considering the fact that he's still amongst the greats at his age. Because normally, when they push 30 in the league, they push 30. Alright, they push 30. So, credit to Harden in that aspect, for sure. Despite all of the negative things I say. 34. At 34, we got Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday averaged 19, 7, and 5 on 48, 38, 86 splits. He had a positive defensive box plus minus with impeccable point of attack defense. He's really a pest, and it's hard to get Jrue Holiday off of you. Screens do not work for the most part. He blows them up a lot of the time. He's a pest. You ride your hip and dog you and force you to the area you don't want to go to on defense. He's really tough. And he also improved his playmaking. It was a career year for him as an assist. It was a career year for him in assists. As a distributor, I don't think we've seen Jrue Holiday disengaged. And now that he's playing up in Boston, I actually believe that he's the playmaker that they were looking for long term to run their offense. Yet he's still able to impact their defense. So I think that was a great acquisition for Boston. Though I do think Jrue Holiday can be more of an efficient basketball player. He's a woeful playoff shot creator, for example. Be hitting like the side of the backboard sometimes on these sidestep threes. Yeah. I don't want to come off as a hater because I don't know basketball, but we don't see some tough Jrue Holiday performances as of late. It would be good to see him maybe in a role that makes him do a little bit less with the pill in his hands when it comes to scoring, and being though as they need a point guard in Boston, he can solidify himself more into a role as a one as opposed to being the team's playmaker, the team's shot creator, and the team's point of attack defender. We can lower one of those rankings down. He don't got to create shots for himself. He has Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White of the world with bigs like Al Horford and Porzingis playing. So he'll be alright. I honestly didn't need to really hound on his shot creation, but it is still a glaring weakness of his. At 33, I got Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson averaged 24, 6, and 3 on 49, 41, 82 splits. He's an efficient, crafty scorer with a 60 true shooting percentage. I like how Jalen Brunson creates off the dribble. In isolation and as a one-on-one scorer, it's going to be really hard to... It's going to be really hard to stop Jalen Brunson from getting the move he wants to get off. He takes what the defense gives him very well and has counters for days. Kind of reminds me of how Kyrie Irving can do the same thing with his crafty ability of scoring. Intangibles are there, the footwork's there, the touch is there. He's just a fun player to watch. He's a good playmaker who doesn't turn the ball over, which is a very underrated trait because a lot of these guys in today's NBA, they waste possessions turning the ball over, trying to force things that aren't there. Brunson's not the type of guy that'll do that. He's not necessarily an elite playmaker. Like, he won't make elite passes and force things between windows, but that kind of plays to his strength, being as though he's such a crafty and able scorer. He also performs in the playoffs. We've seen it now for 2 seasons. He shows up come postseason time, and his only glaring weakness is the fact that he's undersized at guard. So, I like Jalen Brunson. I think, to be honest with you, it's probably only a matter of time before he climbs up higher on these lists, despite the fact that he's undersized and we kind of don't show him enough love. He's old school with it, but he nice. He old school with it, but he nice. I like Brunson's game. At 32, I got Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal averaged 23, 5, and 4 on 51, 36 and a half, and 84 splits. He's an improved playmaker, and we talked about on this podcast before, but he's exceptional away from the ball as well. Great off the ball scorer. He's a 45% jump shooter with a 59 true shooting percentage. My main question for Bradley Beal this season, and what I'm looking forward to, is how effective can he be with Phoenix and all that firepower. We've never seen Bradley Beal be less than a second option on a team. So, and that's been a while. John Wall's era was a minute ago. Bradley Beal has pretty much been the number one in Washington the rest of the way since the John Wall era was over. So, it'll be interesting to see how he adapts as the season progresses and see how he approaches the game. But it already looks fine in the preseason. So, kudos to him if he makes the shift look easy, because it's not. But exceptional talent, though. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays with those guys for real. I'm interested. At 31, I got Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram averaged 25, 6, and 5 on 48, 39, 88 splits. He's a 45% jump shooter on 58% true shooting, and improved his playmaking as well. He has a negative defensive box score plus minus despite the positive defensive win shares that Nola was able to create. So defenses just got to be able to be stepped up. The Pelicans were really good on defense, being as though they had Najee, Herb, guys like that playing, with Trey Murphy even improving as the season progressed. So you would like for Nola's star players, like how I talked about CJ McCollum in the last podcast, you would like Brandon Ingram to step his game up. And then also, can he take one more leap as a scorer? This team desperately needs an aggressive BI in order for them to really hit the apex they want to hit. I know he likes to get his game off in spots, but sometimes it's got to be stretches where Brandon Ingram says, I'm Brandon Ingram, and takes over. I'd be damned if it's CJ McCollum again that does it. So, Brandon Ingram, get that dog in you, man. Get that dog in you, bro. It's there. We've seen it in glimpses, man. We need to see the whole thing. Pause. But I want the whole load. That's crazy. I won't put the clip there. That was insane. I won't put the clip there, though, so it got context to it. At 30, we got Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton averaged 21, 11, and 4 on 49, 40, 87 splits. He's a crafty, efficient scorer with a 62 true shooting percentage. I like Tyrese Halliburton's game. I love the way he approaches it. And he's uber efficient everywhere from the field. 73% at the rim, 45% from 3 to 10 feet, 40.5 from 10 to 16, 55% from 16 to 3-point range, which is crazy. That's tough. Tough midi, 40% from 3. That's actually probably underrated. The fact that he can get to the dribble pull up from the midi despite his jump shot form. Has a pretty decent floater as well, so the floater touches there. I like Halliburton's game. And he's an all-world playmaker that can pass with both of his hands, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he could take the Pacers to that next level. That's kind of where I'm at with Tyrese. It's kind of just like, now that he's solidified as the number one, he's a borderline all-star. Can he just take the Pacers to that next level so that he can get the notoriety he deserves for real? Because he's really talented. At 29, I got Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen averaged 25. My bad, not 29. That would have been crazy if he did, though. He averaged 25, 9, and 2 on 50, 39, 87 splits. He's an efficient scorer with volume. as well. So it wasn't like Marketing wasn't getting his shots up. 64% true shooting percentage on 40% jump shots shooting. Like, that's tough. That's tough. He was a tough guard. Tough guard for real. 72% at the rim, 50% from 3 to 10 feet, 52.5% from 10 to 16 feet, 45% from 16 to 3-point range, and then 39% from 3. He improved his rebounding and his overall interior play, which really gave him the super skyrocket high from being somebody who, I'll tell y'all, he wasn't even on my radar to make this kind of jump, to making that kind of jump. Will this be a consistent norm for him, or was this just an outlier year for him? We'll find out. I think it can be a little bit more consistent than what naysayers might say, but I don't really know how many naysayers Larry Markkinen has either. I gotta be honest. I think Larry Markkinen can keep it up though. I think he can keep it up. At 28, I got Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges averaged 20, 3 and 4 on 47, 38, and 89.5 splits. He shot 42.5% on jump shots and had a 61% true shooting percentage. Very underrated bucket getter. Averaged 26 when he got traded to the Nets. So, very underrated bucket getter in this league. And I think what we saw in Brooklyn is more than capable of being replicated by Mikal, which is why he's high on this list. For what it's worth, if I were to put my money on Mikal Bridges or Larry Markkinen maintaining the consistency, I'm that high on Mikal Bridges' upside to where I think Mikal can get the job done. Negative defensive box score plus minus, which is interesting due to his defensive reputation. What does it really say about what we're watching? Is Mikal taking that next leap as a two-way star in the NBA? Is he? My money is on yes, but it could very well be that he's just complacent with where he's at. But I'm willing to bet that Mikal's going to take that leap. At 27, we got Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. averaged 18.61 on 51, 35.5%, and 79 splits. He averaged three blocks, and 1 steal with the +2 defensive box score plus minus. Depoy of the year stuff. That's 4 stocks a game with guaranteed plus defensive box score plus minus. You have to give him credit where credit is due, no matter how much we don't like certain aspects of his game. The one thing we got to give him credit for is his defensive intensity, because he's switchable, he rim protects, he's a great help defender, he can play good positional defense, and he can still stop your guards at the point of attack on the switch. There's a lot of things Jaren Jackson does very well that makes him a dynamic defender, and I personally still like his game, despite the fact that everybody on the internet hates him. 61 true shooting percentage, again, switchable with good position awareness, and he spaces the floor out for Memphis, which is tough. Scores with or without the ball also as well. He's a negative rebounder though, which is what turns people off on him the most. Honestly, I feel them. The defensive rebounding stinks. I'm just going to say the word stinks because it's not good. It's not very good. I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, but it kind of isn't good. And then he's got to stop picking up those fouls. Stop fouling. Stop hacking. Stop hacking. And most importantly, stop hacking and then looking like around like you didn't hack. Stop that. Stop the cap. My thing for Jaren Jackson Jr. is, does he have another gear as a playoff scorer? He could score well when it's not on, when the game's not on ESPN. Jaren Jackson looks like a top 25 player. When the game's on ESPN, it looks like he's barely top 50. And I want that to be the emphasis on my analysis, because it kind of plays into how he approaches the games in playoffs. Sometimes you get a stretch where Jaren Jackson Jr. hits like 3 threes in a row and it's tough. And then sometimes he's going to miss, but he's going to go like 1 for 7. And I kind of just want to see the consistency maintained so that he can dominate postseason play as well. So my whole niche is, can he take that next step as a scorer, or will he just maintain and plateau inevitably? I think he can take that step as a scorer, though. I believe in Jaren Jackson Jr.'s two-way dominance. So I think he can get the job done. And then my last player to end the list, I got Kyrie Irving at 26. Kyrie Irving averaged 27, 5, and 5 on 49, 38, and 90 splits. Crazy efficiency. Uber efficient scorer with super crafty moves and an sensational. What did I just say? He's an uber efficient scorer. He's super crafty with the pill in his hand and a sensational ball handler. Probably top 5 all time we've seen at handling the ball. Who's also capable of getting tough buckets as well. He improved his playmaking too. He's a more willing playmaker. He plays with them without the ball at an elite level too. 64% field goal percentage on layups and a 45% jump shooter with a 61% true shooting percentage. Goes to show how efficient Kyrie Irving is as a basketball player. Can Kyrie Irving play effective 60 games for the Mavericks so the Mavericks can win a lot more of these games and get that chemistry going? We'll find out. We'll see if Kyrie Irving cares about basketball for real or not. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate everybody who's still rocking with any content that I make. More podcasts and more stuff coming out soon. I should have made this video, but we here now. So I appreciate everybody that's tapped in for real. It's been your boy IDK Hoop. Out this beat.